Hello, I'm Sherry Sturman, Crayola Director of Education. We're excited that We Penny Press is collaborating with Crayola for this Read Along, Draw Along event to help children enjoy great stories and the illustrations that bring them to life. So grab some drawing supplies and get ready for an interactive story session. Joining me today is author Tiffany Hammond and illustrator Kate Cosgrove. Tiffany, tell us what inspired you to write this book and how your personal experiences, as well as parenting your two sons, have made you passionate about advocating for non-speaking individuals.
I wrote this book because I wanted to connect with my son. He's non-speaking and he sees the world so differently than everyone else. So I'm autistic as well, and so is my youngest, but we have a different experience with autism, being able to speak and let our thoughts be known to others, and we are treated differently because we're able to communicate our wants and our needs and our desires. And I wanted a way to introduce children to autism in a way that I felt would be relatable and engaging and make them want to ask questions and use their curiosity for good, learn something new about people who experience the world differently than they do. Because autism is a wide spectrum of experiences, and I wanted to highlight one way that someone with autism sees the world and how they interact with the world. And I thought a beautiful way of doing this is to create a picture book that is based on our real life and days that we have in our real life. Share that with as many children and parents and people around the world that we could.
Tiffany, thank you for sharing your personal insights. Our viewers are eager to hear the story. Please read A Day with No Words.
A Day with No Words by me and the lovely Kate Cosgrove. Early morning chases a long night. Mama pulls the curtains back to welcome the sunlight. My eyes squeeze shut. I'm not ready to get up, but I open my eyes. I reach for my tablet, look at the screen, tap yes on the app. My thoughts are now seen. I am surrounded by voices chattering away. It seems as if everyone has so much to say. Some people have big voices that feel like storms in my head. They thrash and they scream. Others have voices that are soft and smooth, like freshly whipped cream. Like water, Mama's voice dances round, bobbing up and down as it leaves her throat, much like the waves that carry a boat. Daddy's voice is like air, soft as a light summer breeze that kisses my cheek, strong as the winds of hurricanes that abandon ships at sea. All these people around me, diverse and unique, I hear them all, but they do not hear me. I do not speak. I was born like this. No voice from my lips. I am autistic. I use a tablet to be heard, pushing buttons with pictures that speak my words. Mama taps. Park. Now. No. Crowd. I love the park and quickly tap yes. With no crowd, I'll feel less stress. Mama knew this. She always knows when I feel comfortable and when my anxiety grows. I do things many people do not understand. I like to stare through the parted fingers of my right hand. I comfort the trees with hugs when the sun disappears. I like to spin barefoot on soft grass after the rain clears. There are some kids at the park with their mamas nearby. The clouds are still gray because the sky has just cried. They all turn to look at me as I jump and flap. One mother sneers. That boy is handicapped. Mama inhales deeply. Her brows crease. She closes her eyes. Deep breath. Release. Mama types quickly. Her fingers a blur. The tablet she holds says her words. My son does not speak, but his ears work just fine. The words that you say go straight to his mind. Then Mama turns to me with a smile and taps on her screen. Wet grass, soft spin, shoes, socks off, bare skin. And I twirl in damp grass until I can no longer stand. I tap all done. Mama smiles and takes my hand. Mama turns on her tablet, looks at the cashier, smiles and then types. Small fries, root beer. It takes him a moment, and then he pushes buttons too. Mama looks down at me. Your turn. You choose. I tap my tablet quickly. I don't need time to decide. Chicken nuggets, orange soda, a large side of fries. The end.
Kate, this book is filled with colorful images that help readers understand autism and how the world looks, feels, and sounds special to people who have autism. Please explain how you use textures and wispy flowing lines to convey a sense of motion and activity around the characters.
This book is special to me as well because my daughter has autism. And so I feel like I've kind of existed as a sidekick in that world for a long time. It's a very moving world. There's a lot of movement and sound and sensory experiences. And so as an artist, but especially as an illustrator, when you're illustrating, you want to capture that movement. You don't want it just to be like a portrait of people standing very still, and especially with a story like this. Sometimes it looks even fuzzy a little bit around the edges, which is kind of just my style in general as an artist. But I think it does give it a sense of just constant movement and sensory feelings. I use a lot of color pencil and pencil work when I'm doing that and build upon it.
Thank you, Kate. Your illustrations help us see how various voices sound. Let's focus on one of your illustrations as you help our viewers create their own art that represents an important message from this story. We're excited to see how taking a breath comes to life.
I'm just going to start making some little lines so that I can see where she's going to be on the page. And then after that, we'll start to really have fun with some color. So as you can see, I'm sketching out just a very, very light sketch because I want to be able to go back and I want to keep it free so we have some options. We get to use the blue one for just the outline of her hair. Now I'm going to move on to the pink color for her shoulders, and then we can start doing some of those flowers around her. I don't like a lot of hard lines with my art. There's no rules in art. That's what makes it cool. So I'm getting her general placement of where she'll be. So now we know where Mom is going to be, and she's the main star of this illustration. I'm shading it a little bit darker around her chin. so you can see the separation of chin and neck. For her eyelashes and eyebrows, I'm gonna find a darker black. Sometimes when you have like a lighter tone and you can build on it with another color, it can give it kind of a glow, which is neat. So now we're gonna do her eyebrows. And I think when you're trying to capture the expression of someone that you're drawing or a character, the eyebrows are really important when a face is making an expression. In the text for this one, she's letting out a slow breath, like when you blow out the candles of a birthday cake. Now I'm going to move on just to do a little bit more of her hair and leave room for that headband. I know I didn't move it up on the page quite far enough, so it'll get a little bit more cut off than it is in the book, but that's okay. Now I'm picking an orangey tone for the flowers on her headband. You can follow along with me, or you can make your headband different. That's okay too. But let's get some of her shirt going so we can start layering in some of those flowers. Then I'm gonna go back to the skin tone and just get the little bit of caps for her shoulders, just so we know where that is. And this is the part too that's cool with a color pen. Now that I've started to use it and it's not its sharpest, it has just like a nice flat edge to it. That's when you can really get some nice movement and shapes with your mark. Okay, I think now we can start putting in some of those flower shapes around her. So I have a purple here. I'm gonna do some of these purple flowers around her head. Ooh, that's almost a perfect match to the book. I see another one over here. And you can put whatever flowers you want to put, or you can follow along with me. Let's find some greens. Ooh, that's a cool one. Very cool, kind of aqua-y green. We have some dandelions. And so since those are white, I'm going to use a color to build around it so we can keep that white space. So we want to not put color in those areas just yet until we're ready for that pink stem. The other thing that I do as an artist, I'd like to make sure that there's little hints of the same color throughout the entire image so that it gives it more of a together feeling. I don't know what the word would be, but basically we have this blue that's mimicking the blue in her hair, just little subtle bits of it throughout. This is fun. So we can get some of these blades of green going. And then I have this blue vine creeping up, so we'll do that one. We have a little bit of blue around here, and then I'm going to add some of that lilac-y purple on top. So I use these outer colors to reinforce that border of Mama's face. And then I'm going to do this little plant right here, which we can use some of those tones that we used in Mama's skin for the stem. I did not plan ahead with white. We have a couple options here. We can either switch mediums and put some white here, or we can go with a different color. And I think that's what I'm going to do today. There's just all kinds of different shapes of greenery around here. I'm going to work on some of these leaves. This is why color pencil is so awesome to work with. This is the same pencil color, but because I'm pressing down harder over it and giving it more pressure, and we stayed pretty light with touch here, you can still see it, and it gives it a really nice subtle difference. And then I'm gonna get this darker green for the leaves. This darker green really blends nice with other green tones. That looks really cool. So I'm gonna take this lighter green to go over the darker green and see what happens. Ooh, it gives it like a glow. That's so cool. Now I'm gonna put some of the grass shapes down here, giving Mom a little hug there in her moment of peace. Some of these circly plant shapes mimic her earring shapes. It all blends together to give it that feeling of balance. And I'm gonna give this one leaves because I can. I'm gonna make a just more hard border along the bottom of her neck, because the neck is often in shadow from just having your head in the way, so sometimes it can be a little bit darker. And this makes it have more of a 3D feeling to it. And I think we've done it. Could always forever go back through and just make those tones even richer and richer, but I'm happy with how this turned out with all these beautiful Crayola color pencils. That's pretty cool.
Now that you've seen Kate create art that speaks, it's your time to draw. Grab some colored pencils, crayons, paint, or markers. Think about the textures and voices around you. How do they make you feel? And how can you show emotions without words? Parents and teachers, you can be the first to know about the next Read Along, Draw Along program and other free learning events by signing up to receive the Crayola Education monthly e-newsletter. Just go to Crayola.com and check the education box to have free learning ideas delivered right to your inbox. Thank you, Tiffany and Kate, for helping our viewers understand autism and the many ways that people communicate nonverbally. Thanks to our friends at Wheat Penny Press for publishing this great book. And a very special thanks to all of you for joining us.
I would like to thank everyone for joining us here as I read this incredibly special book to not only my family, but to all the wonderful and amazing and powerful and brave and courageous, spirited, autistic people around the world. Thank you for, spending a little time of your day sitting here and listening to this story and drawing along with the wonderful, amazing, and beautiful, and talented Kate. So thank you.
Thank you so much to Tiffany for sharing your heart with us and through your beautiful storytelling. Thanks for everyone for drawing along with me today. Take care.
Bye-bye.